There's a silent battle we fight every day, one not waged with swords or words, but through patience, restraint, and self-awareness. That battle is with people. Not all people, just the ones who drain you, manipulate you, constantly criticize, complain, or control. The ones who disrupt your peace, challenge your values, and test your ability to remain centered in a chaotic world. These are the people we now call toxic, and whether we like it or not, we all encounter them. In our workplaces, our homes, our social circles, sometimes even in our own families. But here's a question that cuts deeper than it seems. How do you protect your peace without losing your compassion? The answer: the Stoics. For thousands of years, Stoic philosophers have been quietly teaching a powerful way to navigate difficult relationships, not by lashing out or withdrawing completely, but by transforming the way we respond internally. They believed that our greatest power lies not in controlling others, but in mastering ourselves. And in the age of constant noise, drama, and emotional reactivity, that ancient wisdom is more relevant than ever. So let's explore how the Stoics dealt with difficult people, not by escaping conflict, but by using it as a mirror, not by feeding the fire, but by becoming the calm within it. Imagine walking through a city you've never visited before. It's busy, unfamiliar, overwhelming. You don't know the customs, the language, or the terrain. If you're unprepared, every little thing becomes a shock. But if you've studied the map, if you know the traffic patterns, the shortcuts, the dangers, you move through it with awareness. Nothing surprises you. You expect it. The Stoics believed people are the same way. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The first thing you must do each morning is remind yourself, today I will meet people who are selfish, arrogant, deceitful, jealous, rude." To most, that sounds pessimistic, but to a Stoic, it's liberation. Because when you expect people to act according to their nature, you no longer take it personally. You anticipate human flaws, not to judge them, but to avoid being shaken by them. This isn't about becoming cold, it's about becoming prepared. It's easier to remain calm when you've already made peace with the fact that others may not be. So the next time someone interrupts you, lies to you, or tries to provoke you, remember, this isn't unexpected. It's just human. When someone disrespects us, our first instinct is to try and fix them. We want them to see our perspective, to understand our intentions, to change their behavior. But the Stoics remind us, this is the root of suffering. Epictetus said, "Some things are up to us, and some are not." We cannot control other people's opinions, moods, or actions. What we can control entirely is our response. That's where our freedom lies. Most people waste their energy fighting battles outside of themselves. They try to manipulate outcomes, argue to win, please everyone around them, and in the process they lose the one thing they were always responsible for, themselves. The Stoic approach is different. It says, if someone insults you, pause. Look inward. Are you calm? Are you composed? Are you holding on to your values? If the answer is yes, you've already won. Because no one can take your peace unless you hand it over. And once you realize this, toxic people lose their power. It's tempting to fight fire with fire. When someone is cold, we become colder. When they're sarcastic, we get defensive. When they yell, we yell louder. But the Stoics teach that reacting like this is weakness, not strength. Seneca said, "The greatest revenge is not to be like your enemy." In other words, don't mirror what you despise, because when you stoop to their level, you don't just validate their behavior, you become part of it. A wise person doesn't match others' energy, they hold their own. When someone speaks with cruelty, speak with calm. When someone spreads chaos, bring order. When someone tries to shake you, stand still. This isn't about being passive. It's about choosing your response with intention, not impulse. It's the art of emotional self-defense, because in the end, you don't need to change others. You just need to make sure they don't change you. To the Stoics, every obstacle is fuel, every irritation a training ground, and that includes difficult people. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." That means when someone disrespects you, you don't just endure it. You use it. You use it to practice patience, to strengthen your boundaries, to test your ability to remain centered when everything around you isn't. Every time you stay calm in the face of disrespect, you're building inner strength. Every time you choose silence over arguing, you're mastering your ego. Toxic people aren't just problems, they're mirrors. They show you where you still react, where your wounds are, where your peace can be stolen. And once you realize this, you stop running from them. You start learning from them. The Stoics didn't avoid difficulty, they used it to evolve. And the same goes for the people who challenge you. Stoicism isn't about tolerating everything. It's about knowing your limits and enforcing them with grace. Yes, you can respond calmly. Yes, you can expect imperfection. But that doesn't mean you must allow abuse, manipulation, or chronic negativity into your life. Epictetus put it simply, avoid people who delay your progress. This isn't cruel, it's necessary. There are people who will drain you no matter how patient, kind, or centered you are. And the Stoics understood that protecting your mind means sometimes protecting your environment. This might mean walking away from certain relationships, limiting your time with certain individuals, or even cutting ties with people who refuse to respect your peace, not out of anger, not out of spite, but out of self-respect. Your inner world is a garden, and just like any garden, you must decide what gets planted and what gets removed. If someone poisons your peace, the most stoic thing you can do is step away. At its core, Stoicism isn't about shutting down your emotions or becoming indifferent to others. It's about rising above the chaos with clarity. It's the realization that the world and the people in it will always be unpredictable. But your response? That's your domain. So when you face someone toxic, remember, expect it. Don't take it personally. Don't react like them. Use it to grow and protect your peace. Because in doing so, you don't just survive the storm. You become the eye of it. The Stoics, especially the likes of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, were not naive idealists. They weren't suggesting we pretend that people won't hurt us, that others will always be fair, or that we can escape the shadows of human nature. Quite the opposite. They fully understood the depth of human flaws, but they also understood that human suffering doesn't stem from these flaws as much as it stems from our resistance to them. When we encounter a toxic person, our natural instinct is to feel betrayed, upset, or even angry. We often feel as though we've been violated in some way. But the Stoic would argue that the real violation is not what others do to us, but what we do to ourselves by reacting without control. It's important to recognize that toxic people often don't even realize the damage they're doing. This is crucial because when we're able to view their behavior with this understanding, we are no longer motivated by frustration, but by clarity. We can see their actions for what they truly are, an expression of their own inner turmoil, ignorance, or lack of self-awareness. The Stoics were masters at understanding that everyone has their own internal battles, and more often than not, toxic behavior is simply a reflection of those struggles, not something inherently personal directed at us. If this is all making sense to you, hit the subscribe button and join the paradox theory. Thank you. Let's explore this deeper. The Stoics believed that to truly live in harmony with the world, we must constantly examine our thoughts and emotions, separating ourselves from the impulse to react impulsively to every situation. We live in a society that encourages the opposite. The modern world thrives on reaction, emotional outbursts, and divisiveness. Social media is a perfect example. We're encouraged to react instantly, to weigh in, to engage, and to feed the fire of outrage or indignation. The Stoics, however, encourage us to step back, to pause, and to examine our responses. Rather than letting the chaos of the world dictate how we feel, they argued, we must use our reason to choose our responses thoughtfully. In the presence of toxic people, this Stoic response becomes even more crucial. In the face of criticism or manipulation, it's easy to lose yourself in the drama and forget that you have the power to choose how you respond. This is the art of emotional self-regulation. When someone attacks your character, when they manipulate or belittle you, it's easy to lash out or let the anger build. But imagine instead responding with a peaceful detachment, with an awareness that the toxicity of others does not define you. You don't have to engage. You don't have to stoop to their level. The power is in your hands to maintain your own equilibrium. There's a profound quote by Marcus Aurelius that perfectly encapsulates this mindset. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. What this means is that the events, circumstances, and people around you can never disturb your peace unless you allow them to. And when you come to realize that nothing can truly shake you unless you permit it, you begin to approach life with a deep sense of freedom. Toxic people can come and go. They can say what they want, do what they will, but you will no longer be their prisoner. To live this way requires constant practice. The Stoics were clear that living with emotional clarity isn't a one-time achievement. It's an ongoing discipline. Every moment you face a challenge, you are presented with an opportunity to practice your response. Every time someone tries to provoke you, you are given a chance to strengthen your ability to remain calm and centered. The more you practice, the more automatic it becomes. Soon, your emotional landscape is not defined by external circumstances, but by your own steady hand. Another aspect of Stoicism that's incredibly valuable when dealing with difficult people is the idea of viewing challenges as opportunities for growth. It's easy to get bogged down in resentment when someone hurts you. It's easy to dwell on how unfair it is, how wrong they are, how they should change. But the Stoic would challenge you to view it differently. Rather than focusing on what they've done to you, shift your focus to how you can use this moment to grow. In every challenging interaction, there's an opportunity to develop greater patience, greater resilience, greater understanding. This is a transformative shift in perspective. Instead of seeing toxic people as obstacles, you begin to see them as opportunities for your own emotional and spiritual growth. As Epictetus wisely said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When you internalize this, every encounter with a toxic person becomes an opportunity to practice control over your emotions, to cultivate a deeper sense of inner peace, and to refine your character. Let's be clear. This does not mean tolerating toxic behavior or allowing yourself to be abused. Stoicism is not about being passive or accepting everything that comes your way. It's about understanding your limits and acting accordingly. The Stoics were not pacifists. They did not shy away from confrontation when necessary, but they always did so with calm, reason, and purpose, not emotional outbursts or retaliation. In fact, one of the most important lessons from Stoic philosophy is the value of boundaries. Learning to set clear, healthy boundaries is essential when dealing with toxic people. You don't have to sacrifice your peace or your principles to keep the peace with others. But it's crucial to understand that setting boundaries doesn't mean creating walls or isolating yourself from others. It means establishing clear lines of what is acceptable behavior and what is not, and being firm in enforcing those lines. Setting boundaries with toxic people often means having uncomfortable conversations. It may mean telling someone that their behavior is unacceptable or stepping away from relationships that no longer serve you. But the Stoics would argue that doing so with grace and composure is the most powerful form of self-respect. There is nothing weak about standing up for yourself. It takes strength to hold firm in your convictions, to assert your needs without resorting to anger, defensiveness, or resentment. This is where the true power of Stoicism lies, not in ignoring or suppressing your emotions, but in choosing to respond in a way that aligns with your deepest values. When you set boundaries, you are not only protecting your peace, but you are also sending a clear message that you value yourself enough to not tolerate disrespect or manipulation. This is not just a personal victory, but a demonstration of your strength to others as well. And as you grow in this discipline, you begin to notice something profound. The more you practice emotional regulation, the less power toxic people have over you. They may still try to provoke you, criticize you, or manipulate you, but their words will no longer hit as hard. Their actions will no longer have the same emotional charge. You become a mirror that reflects their negativity without absorbing it. You become untouchable, not because you've built walls around yourself, but because your inner world is no longer affected by external chaos. This is the Stoic ideal, the unshakable mind, the person who can walk through the storms of life with calm, with grace, and with clarity. A person who has mastered the art of emotional resilience. It's not that they don't feel pain or frustration, it's that they've learned to channel those emotions into growth, not destruction. As you move forward, remember this: toxic people will always exist. They will come and go. But how you respond, that is within your control. Every interaction, every challenge is an opportunity for you to deepen your emotional intelligence, to refine your character, and to strengthen your inner peace. When you respond with awareness, when you set boundaries with grace, when you cultivate patience and self-respect, you don't just survive toxic people. You transcend them. You turn their poison into your medicine. At the end of the day, the Stoics remind us that our greatest challenge isn't the world outside, but the world within. The battle for peace is fought not in the arena of external circumstances, but in the realm of our own thoughts, emotions, and reactions. The more we cultivate self-awareness, emotional resilience, and inner calm, the less power toxic people have over us. And in that, we find true freedom. True freedom isn't the absence of difficulty or confrontation. It's the ability to remain unshaken in the face of them. It's the power to stay grounded, centered, and at peace, no matter what the world throws your way. So, embrace the challenges. Use them to strengthen your resolve, and let go of the need to change others. Instead, focus on becoming the best version of yourself, the version that can face any storm with calm, with clarity, and with an unwavering sense of self-respect. One of the most transformative aspects of Stoic thought is the understanding of the difference between what we can control and what we cannot. In the heat of any difficult interaction, particularly with toxic people, this fundamental truth becomes our greatest ally. When we encounter someone whose behavior seems designed to provoke or hurt us, it's all too easy to feel overwhelmed. But the Stoics teach us to pause and ask, what is within my control in this situation? This question is the key to unlocking emotional freedom. At the core of this question is the profound realization that we cannot control others. We cannot dictate how they think, how they feel, or how they behave. However, what we do control is our own mind, our own reactions. and the way we engage with the world. Once we internalize this, the power to navigate toxicity lies in our ability to govern our own responses. So often we fall into the trap of trying to change others. We want them to see things from our perspective, to acknowledge our feelings, or to stop behaving in ways that hurt us. But this is an exhausting and ultimately futile pursuit. We waste so much energy trying to bend the world to our will, rather than accepting what is outside of our control and focusing on our own inner world. Think about the last time someone hurt you. Perhaps it was a criticism, an attack on your character, or manipulation that left you feeling small or wronged. Your immediate reaction might have been anger or a desire for retribution. The Stoics, however, would ask you to reflect, why am I letting this person's actions disturb my peace? The answer, of course, is that we're allowing them to control our emotions. The more we react, the more we surrender our power to them, and so must we. Before you go, I want to hear from you. What is one thing you know you need to let go of, but haven't yet? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to read your experiences and reflections. And if this message resonated with you, make sure to subscribe. It's important, much more than you imagine. And trust me, the journey we're on together is just getting started. The next videos are going to go even deeper, so stick around. You won't want to miss what's coming next. See you soon.